Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India. You're watching South Asian Newsline and here the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 22nd of January. Authorities declare Indian village containment zone after mysterious illness, claims 17 lie. Amid Trump's immigration crackdown, US Secretary of State reassures India on migration concerns. And Nasheed invites Trump to observe Maldives' climate crisis after US exit from Paris Agreement. And now for all the details. Unable to reach a conclusive finding as to what caused 17 mysterious deaths in Rajouri district of India's Jammu and Kashmir, authorities on Wednesday declared the Budhal village as a containment zone. Forensic department teams and health officials sent by the Interior Ministry arrived in the village and met locals in otherwise serene Budhal village, wherein the community was shocked by deaths of people belonging to same three families, including at least a dozen children between December 7 and January 19. The teams collected samples from victims, water sources and food items to determine the cause of the illness. Local media reported symptoms of the illness included rapid deterioration of health, including fever, pain, nausea and intense sweating, leading to hospitalization and subsequent coma and death.
इलाके में ऐसा ना हुआ तो ना देखा, इलाके छोड़ किसी जगह में सुना नहीं, आप खुद जानती। और 2-3 घरों का कुंभा खत्म हो गया और जो दिल्ली की टीम आ रही थी, हमें उम्मीद है बहुत कार्रवाई है, लेकिन पता नहीं चला, हम लोग मर रहे हैं और जी नहीं रहे।
बड़ी बड़ी एजेंसीज आई हुई हैं, हमारी इन्वेस्टिगेटिव एजेंसीज आई हुई हैं, हमारे फॉरेंसिक डिपार्टमेंट चंडीगढ़ से हैं, लखनऊ से हैं और एमएचए की टीम भी आई है, हमारी टीम्स अपनी टाइम काम कर रही हैं और सभी का अब एक ही पर्पज़ है कि इसका कारण खोजा जाए। और मुझे लगता है कि आने वाले दिनों में ये जो इतनी बड़ी एजेंसी हैं, हमारे देश के बड़े बड़े इदारे हैं, कुछ ना कुछ हमें बताएंगे कि किस वजह से ये हादसा पेश आया।
The new US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, in a meeting with Indian Foreign Minister S. Shankar on Tuesday, said that the Washington wants to address the issue of illegal migration with India. Rubio held his first multilateral meeting with foreign ministers of Quad Group, India, Australia and Japan, who vote to strongly oppose any unilateral actions that seek to change the status quo by force or coercion. Rubio emphasized the Trump administration's desire to work with India to advance economic ties and address concerns related to irregular migration. If the Trump administration moves on deportations, among the first affected could be the 20,407 undocumented Indians as of November 2024 who are either facing final removal orders or are currently in detention centers of the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Bangladesh's interim government, led by Muhammad Yunus, on Tuesday said it will continue its effort to bring deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina back from India and will seek international intervention if necessary. The government authorities have said that if India refuses to return Hasina, it would constitute a violation of the extradition treaty between Bangladesh and India. Reportedly, Hasina has been living in India since August last year when she fled Bangladesh following a massive student-led uprising that toppled her 16-year regime. The International Crimes Tribunal of Bangladesh has issued arrest warrants for Hasina and several of her former cabinet ministers, advisors and military officials for crimes against humanity and genocide. Last year, Dhaka sent a diplomatic note to New Delhi seeking Hasina's extradition. Under the provisions of the India-Bangladesh extradition treaty, extradition may be refused if the offence is one of the political character. Pakistan has agreed terms for a $1 billion loan with two Middle Eastern banks at a 6 to 7% interest rate, its finance minister Mohammad Aurangzeb said on Tuesday, as the South Asian country looks for more financing. With two institutions, we have now gone forward in signing up the term sheet, one bilateral and one for trade, Aurangzeb told Reuters on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos. The loans were short-term or up to 1 year, Aurangzeb added. Pakistan aims to boost its finances after securing a $7 billion IMF bailout in September 2024, with the first review set for late February. Cash-strapped Pakistan failed last year in an attempt to offload a 60% stake in its debt-ridden flag carrier, Pakistan International Airlines, which is part of an effort to raise funds and reform state-owned enterprises, as envisaged under the ongoing bailout program. In the next 5 to 6 months, we should go to a good outcome, Aurangzeb said, referring to the privatization of PIA. Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Vijayta Herath said on Wednesday that the island nation had signed an agreement with Chinese state energy giant Sinopec to fast-track a proposed $3.7 billion oil refinery in its southern port city of Hambantota. Sinopec and Sri Lanka will jointly decide the share of refined fuel that will be exported from the facility, the minister told reporters. This is one of the largest foreign investment projects Sri Lanka has received, and we feel it will be important for us, he added. Sri Lanka is currently completely dependent on imported oils, which cost the cash-strapped country billions of dollars every year, though it does have some smaller refineries. Last week, China and Sri Lanka signed 15 cooperation documents, including agreements on economic and technological development, when recently elected Sri Lankan President Anurakumara Dissanayake met his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in Beijing. The visit to debt-ridden Sri Lanka's largest bilateral lender came after Dissanayake travelled to Beijing's regional rival India. Sinopec's effort to build a refinery in the Indian Ocean island puts it in direct competition with India's interest in expanding its role as an energy supplier to Sri Lanka. Herath said Sri Lanka is continuing discussions with India on a proposed fuel pipeline between the two countries and is open to refinery proposals from India. Former Maldives President Mohammad Nasheed has called on the United States to reconsider its decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement with an invitation to US President Donald Trump to visit the Maldives and witness first-hand the impacts of climate change. In a statement, Nasheed, who serves as the Secretary General of the Climate Vulnerable Forum, highlighted concerns about decisions by developed nations to reduce their environmental commitments. He also highlighted issues such as melting glaciers, flooding, and heat waves that have disrupted lives and livelihoods across the globe. The former Maldives president is known worldwide for holding a cabinet meeting underwater in 2009 to draw attention to the danger the Maldives would face from rising sea levels. The Paris Agreement is the largest international pact to tackle climate change's effects and reduce global emissions, aiming to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels to avoid the worst impacts of climate change. The withdrawal comes as the United States is reeling from climate-fueled wildfires in Los Angeles. In terms of average climate warming, measured over decades, the world is now 1.3 degrees Celsius warmer and on a pathway from at least 2.7 degrees Celsius of warming this century under current pledges. The United States' exit from the Paris Agreement is expected to take a year. A future administration is able to rejoin the Paris Agreement through executive order, as President Biden did in 2021. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.